The first military units were basically people that looked like Huck Finn, basically. Caps on the thing, furs, and stuff like that. They really weren't real military units. There was nothing formal about them. They wore leather and they wore fur and caps and what you would know as you would think of a military unit or one of my units as basically Huck Finn from the book. It wasn't until like before World War One or somewhere around there when I started actually getting, somewhere around when I had textiles. When I first started getting textiles and cloth and clothing, and people started getting clothing and even suits and stuff, I decided for my military or my group, my units, I wanted to have like a certain color or a certain way denoting who they were, what they were. So like I mean, at first they were just colored or whatever, and then like the little things, like the little things on the side, and and slowly there's this evolution of uniforms, and mostly it's just that all the military units wore brand new, nice clothing, pretty much, and pants. And at first, the first military gear was basically, or first military uniforms were basically just cotton, or not cotton. They're all fuzzy. They look like fuzzy sweaters. They always had fuzz, and I looked at them and I was like, they don't really look much more different than the civilians, other than the fact that they have nice clothes. I was like, can we? I was like, maybe a little bit. And then Germany actually came out with the first polyester, or the first what and I think maybe even some military units might have even had silk clothing. I think I might have had some silk clothing uniforms. Very rare, and all eaten by moths by now. But some of my units might have had silk. Um, but more than anything, I think maybe some of my elite military people might have had silk clothing. I always like to spoil my military people because they worked really hard and they did a lot of work. They would go around and just fix up houses and stuff. There's a lot of, getting the public support and everything else like that. I made that very big a part, and plus like the whole thing, and plus also like getting cold weather. Also, like feeding the populations and stuff. You see, there's military people and just normal people. A lot of what my military did was also food drives, going to go get potatoes or like plowing field and stuff. And plus, they would plow extra fields or grading it down, making bigger farms. Basically, they did that a lot, and that was the American government. Pretty much like the world was what was basically coming together. I mean, there were farms in all over the place, and we were all kind of just like, trying to feed our populations. And there was also lots of fires that would break out because a lot of the wood was very burnable, and so a fire would sweep through a whole town, and the cities were kind of too close together, and there's all that as well. So anyway, there's a lot of different things that were going on, and like I say, slowly but for surely, we get into what is known as the uniforms. Oh wow, that's one of my old buildings. Oop, that's a dead body. Yee. Or dead, no, it's a dead giraffe. Oh, my zoo, that's right, my zoo burned. Oh, my zoo, I forgot about that. That's my zoo. It burned, it caught fire and burned. I was so heartbroken. I was like, no, my zoo, it burned. Like, what about the animals? Did they get them out? And they're like, no, they died. The elephant's in like critical condition. I'm like, what? I was heartbroken. I was like, my zoo? What is going on over there? My zoo. I mean, the poor little, I couldn't imagine like my little elephant dying in a fire. It was horrible. I was like, what is going on? Anyway, there's this whole thing of, I don't know. Anyway, I was doing this one thing and things were getting all crazy. Anyway, though, but this is after when we have real military uniforms. You can see like they actually look like military. Mostly, it was like the black boots, so that the leather. We had just come out with the new leather that looked really good. That was all super secret that one family has. It's like this family recipe has been in our family for 150 years. It's like, yeah, my scientists came up with that family recipe for your leather. Yeah, that was my people's recipe. Your family? Yeah. Your great, 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 whatever. was funded by me for leather. And also, like I say, I'm not forgetting you. The gypsies or those people, they're like not Libyans. They're that family that lives out in the desert that they actually controlled like the whole country at one point in time. And there was this bad thing actually that happened with them where their great whatever was king, and something bad happened. I don't know. I don't know. Like there's a lot of things that happened. That because like I was doing this one little thing and doing this other thing, and there was this technology going around, and then people started bombing everything, and I mean, I don't really, I was, there's me, and then there's the rest of the world, and there's just a lot of problems. Mostly like people would go up into the cold and they would freeze. God bless us. Their aircraft. Anyway, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that happened. I mean, I don't know if you could riots or terrorists, or there's also maybe earthquakes. I forget all the details. I mean, back in then, like I was just over, it's kind of weird. You see the videos and it's like history now, but back then I was, doing my thing and leading the world, and they were kind of under me. Like the leather, that jacket, that was that family recipe, whatever. They made those jackets. Those leather jackets are really special and unique and insanely expensive, by the way. And they had the best, most perfect leather and all that for my military units. So they were my military units, like like I said, the eagle on top or whatever. See the eagle right there, eagle on the top of his brim of his hat. Anytime you see an eagle on any uniforms. That means that's one of my flight groups or some group that came down from my flight group. Because, about aircraft, you have the flight group and then you have all the service stuff. You have the people that make the runways, the people that build the buildings. You have all this other stuff that goes with every flight group. So, I had my special flight group. And then there's like the Nazi party, and they were, like I said, the Nazi party and me were kind of separate. That was like this group. I represented Germany, or I represented the building interest of the factories and stuff, and the workers and all that, and I was doing that. Like I say, anytime in any of these videos when you see an eagle or any kind of bird symbol, that's basically a symbol of my aircraft and my flight and everything else like that. Like I said, I shared how to fly with Germany and Russia. Well, Russia, and then Russia shared it with Germany, I think. Russia was building wooden aircraft, or I built an advanced facility over there, and they were building all wood aircraft and did a really nice job. And then they shared it with Germany, and then America was doing its own little thing kind of on its own with me or something. There's almost like two of me, basically. Anyway, though, it gets all confusing. But yeah, so anyway, and all kinds of stuff was happening. We were working on loudspeakers and stuff. Row. Anyway, I remember like Germany having like 20 years of peace, at least 20 years of peace, where it was just Germany. We were just German, and I mean, it was me. I was handling the world, and basically people were like, "We want to be a part of you. We want to be a part of you." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, come on." And it was like this whole big thing where. Yeah, and I put nets underneath the circus performers because there are some accidents with the circus performers. And I was like, that's it. Safety first. We got to have a net. And they're like, but. And I was like, no buts. You're going to have a net. So anyway, lots of stuff was happening throughout history, like I say. And it's funny to look back at it and go, wow, yeah. Because some people were attacking, my units were being attacked by people. Basically, there really wasn't. I mean, there were police forces, but they weren't really like organized like my military. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was coming into my own, I guess. I mean, there was so much going on in the world, and I was like managing here, managing there, long-term plans, all kinds of stuff, and it was just crazy. There's lots of fires too. Anyway, lots of things had to be invented, everything. Anyway, it's all very complicated, isn't it?